We gotta talk some Eagles on here. And they're at Hard Knocks now. I have a friend of the program. You see me on Crossing Broadcast whenever that's on. Occasionally, it's on hiatus. I like to say friend of the program. Our favorite West Virginia Mountaineer alumni, by the way. He's going to run the ball better than Rich Rodriguez, like he's Pat Williams, anyways, or Steve Slayton. I'd like to welcome back to the program, Kevin Kinkead. Kevin Kinkead, how we doing it? I gotta say, we could run the damn ball, right?
Spot the ball. Let's play with a harder edge than we played with this year because we only won 4 games. But listen, man, Rich Rod was shit in his first year, originally back in the day. So we always knew this was a Flyers like rebuilding year, you know.
I like it already. We will talk some Flyers later, but we'll talk some Eagles. What was your biggest takeaway? Did you watch the Hard Knocks episode 1 of the NFC East? My first takeaway is Jackson Dart is the biggest dumb fuck of all time, by the way, not knowing where the Atlantic Ocean is, by the way.
No, I was keeping an eye on the Sixers, like, you know, because I'm in front of a computer from 9 to 5 every day to begin with. I kind of try to have a life after the days. The day's over. So I knew Pagan was watching. I knew Kyle Pagan was watching it. So I figured he would take whatever's viral worth posting out of there. And luckily we got a good clip about Jalen Hurts confirming for all the jabronis out there that yes, he does talk to his teammates, and yes, that was not just thrown behind Devontae Smith. It was a hot read against a zero blitz, and they were just not on the same page. So yeah, it's a team effort at Crossing Broad, as you know.
I like it's got collaboration, like it's like Mike Vrabel and the Patriots management almost. They're collaborating on like his tenure with the Tennessee Titans almost. Can we say that?
Well, I hope it's collaborative because there's only 2 of us. You know,
well, 2.5. I help you guys out occasionally. With some stuff.
You do, and we got some great freelancers. You know, but I mean, like we're not, the Philadelphia Inquirer with like a sports staff of 30 people. You know, it's me and Pagan, and then we rely on the freelancers to give us some commitment outside of their full-time jobs. So, whatever keeps the wheels turning. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, for sure. I got to ask you before we really get started. What were your thoughts on Kevin Petullo's house getting egged, by the way? Or have we made it full circle now as Philadelphia fans are back being obnoxious again?
Back in the headlines for being assholes, you know? I mean, you got, you give the national media an inch and, now you got everybody, this will be the new snowballs at Santa Claus, you know? I mean, San Francisco 49ers fans are out there stabbing each other at the In-N-Out Burger.
Yep.
And they don't get half of the headlines that we do for throwing some eggs, you know. So
especially that Niner fans spitting on a chick and everything go on from there, you know.
Fighting each other, fighting Cowboys fans. Top 3 worst fan bases in the NFL. San Francisco by far. Dallas.
Easily.
And,
we're throwing it to Chicago now, by the way, because they have taken the tic tac of the R word from the San Francisco fans to Chicago fans. DUnkin Dad have agreed on that. Can we agree on that at least now?
I would say, yeah, and there's like a portion of Rams fans, that Rams kind of like the same type of people who would go to the Dodgers game to shank the visiting Giants fans. You know what I mean? California, makes Philly look like the minor leagues out here, but it's stupid, man. You can't stay off the guy's property. Families off limit, houses are off limit, kids are off limit. If you want to put up the fire Kevin Petullo road sign on Patterson Avenue, that's fine. But let's leave the guy's house alone.
Did we not learn anything from Mrs. Stafford? My God.
Yeah, right. It's a good point. Yeah. There is a line to cross, believe it or not.
Yeah, there's a line. Yep.
What was that? Like, I always feel like Kelly Stafford's wife has now become a recurring guest joke on this pod now, which is kind of good. Can we say that now?
Is that a thing that she keeps coming up on the show?
Everything. Yeah.
Well, we have Jake Reitman, our friend who's a diehard Lions fan. He's on our Monday show. It's like we can always make fun of Kelly Stafford for throwing a pretzel at somebody anyways.
Dude, you know who the Georgia's quarterback was when I lived down there 17 years ago?
Was it Aaron Murray or Matthew Stafford?
It was Matt Stafford. Yeah.
Nice.
How old is he? Is he 40 yet, or is he still in his late 30s?
I think he is in.
He's got to be 38 or 39, right?
Yeah, I think he's like 38.
He is 37, by the way.
Ooh, man.
Okay, yeah, because when we played them in the 2006 Sugar Bowl, and they had DJ Shockley, who was a pretty good college quarterback, was playing.
Yes.
Yeah, and then when I went down to Augusta for a couple of years, they were like, is Matt Stafford the right quarterback for I can't believe he's still playing in the league, man. You know, I'm the same age as LeBron, so like I equate my sports journalism path. I look at what LeBron has accomplished compared to what I've accomplished. You know,
We like to say we're more like Carmelo Anthony and maybe like D Brown at least from like, or Darren Williams from like those Illinois teams at least. Anyways,
yeah. My friend went to Syracuse and he said that he went up and tried to shake Carmelo's hand, and Carmelo called him a derogatory word and told him to go away.
Oh yeah, that checks out for Carmelo.
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about is the Eagles right now.
Do we
What's
have
your, I got.
Okay.
We have to. Anyways,
Okay.
where are you at with the Eagles right now? Are we panicking yet, or because there's rumors right now Darius Slay may be coming back to the Eagles on the waiver wire right now, as DUnkin Dad is looking at the Twitter, refreshing it many times so it gets an error signal. What would you say?
I just don't think they've had a lot of juice, man, coming back off the Super Bowl win. And when they came out in the summer and they said, we're not the defending champions, you know, it's a new year, we're hitting the reset button. I hated that because I wanted somebody to come out and be like, we got the target on our back. We got to sustain this high level of play. I want people to come after us. You know, they couldn't turn the page on that any faster than they did. I mean, Jalen wouldn't even put the damn ring on. So I think, you know, it starts with the offensive line, and Juergens hasn't been healthy from day one. Dickerson hasn't been healthy from day one. Jordan Mailata's had a down year. He will tell you that. I think he has been quoted saying that, but your eyeballs confirm it. Lane Johnson's been injured, and Tyler Steen has been good in pass protection, but he's not a road grader like Mekhi Becton was. And so it starts with the running game, man. You know, it's just not there. I think the reason Tank Bigsby looks better than Saquon does right now is that Tank will just put his head down and just take what's there. Saquon's kind of waiting for those holes to open up that were there last year, and they're not there this year. So he said he's having some bad luck and you know, some blown up runs back there. So that's really where it starts and ends, man. I don't they just can't seem to link any kind of momentum. When they do something good on the offensive side, they follow it up with a crappy 3 and out, or they gotta have a negative play or something like that. So it's all still there, man. I just think it's more the players than the coaches right now.
Okay. Would you say it's also a mistake by Howie not re-signing Mekhi Becton? Would you say we let him cross that? As we cross this bridge right now?
I mean, sure. I don't know if he. I mean, I don't even know if that was possible, though. I think he was looking for a payday, you know. And he can't keep everybody anyway. Steen's been the least of their problems for sure. But when you look at, like, you know, the B gap runs and the A gap runs that they have on his side, yeah, I mean, they're not what they had with Becton last year. You know, there haven't been as many design runs in the you know, that have been called this year, and at the same time, Jalen's scramble rate is down too. So on schedule versus off schedule, you know, improvisation, he's just not running as much as he used to. And I wrote this story yesterday, Tuesday, for the site, that, you know, I kind of hear whispers of like, you know, is Jalen like on a trajectory that Donovan McNabb was on in running less as he gets to a certain point in his career? I think there's probably something to it. They were both 5 years into their career when their you know, attempts per game really dropped. You know, 2 years before Donovan got TO, he was running the ball 6 or 7 times a game on average. And then it dropped to like 2.5 or something like that when TO came, and it never went up ever again. So I think Nick Sirianni's offense, you know, if you don't have those empty set draws and you don't have the RPOs and the zone reads and things like that, it's only going to be so effective, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I just think it's just weird because I remember seeing the comment. I was like, okay, we're in the Donovan area again. Like, okay, we don't want to see him run. Is it because he doesn't want to get hit again, you think? Because he got that bad concussion last year, you think?
I mean, I'm sure there's something to it. I'm sure that it has to do with protecting the ball and not turning the ball over. I'm sure he's been hit a bunch and doesn't want to get hit anymore. And I think you get to a certain point where it's like, last year, all I had to do was be a game manager and just hand it off, you know, throw some sideline shots to AJ, get the guys on some slants, you know, the occasional dagger here or there. And, you know, that was the formula that won them the Super Bowl. So you want to play within the framework of what's been successful for you in the past. But that framework just isn't really there this year. You know, so maybe you got to get back to some of these, you know, QB powers, you know, reading the defensive end, whatever. You know, I'm not saying he's got to be, you know, Dennis Dixon out there with the Oregon's, you know, with the Oregon Ducks, you know, but like, you know, everywhere, like 2008 when everybody was running spread offense and all the quarterbacks did was run zone read, you know, doesn't have to be like that. He can sling it every so often, but yeah, I mean, I think he's got to be willing to use his feet for sure, or else you're hamstrung to a point with this offense.
Yeah, for sure. I just think it's what do you think's the problem with the offense? You think is it Petula? We make jokes on this pod that he should be working at a Wingstop after some of these games. Right now, he should be again direct line to Wingstop. Because there's no seasoning. It's just no rub. There's no sauce to it.
Offensive line, and then everything comes from there.
Okay.
I mean, you can't really understate how good that offensive line was last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think the number for one of the stats I think tells the story the most is there's a YBC number, yards before contact. We talk about yards after contact from broken tackles and whatever, but there's also how much do you pick up before anybody even touches you? And Saquon's number last year was something like 3.8.
Yeah,
which is insanity. I mean, he's basically picking up 4 yards per rush before anybody even touches him, and that just goes to show how big the holes were that the offensive line was opening up last year. And they just haven't. That just hasn't been the case, and everything trickles down from there. I mean, you ask anybody like who's the best assistant coach that the Eagles have and have had probably ever, they'd probably tell you Jeff Stoutland.
Mm-hmm.
And that unit's been real down this year for injuries or other reasons of regression. And Kevin Petula, I think he only can do so much with this offense if the line's not playing well. It's not his offense.
Mm-hmm.
It's Nick Sirianni's offense. That's why I think the narrative, or not the narrative, but just the fact that Jalen Hurts has had so many play callers in recent years, I think that's a little overrated because it's the same offense. He's been running the same offense since 21.
Mm-hmm.
He's just had different people calling the offense, but it's not like every single year they installed something. It's not like he went from like the air raid in Oklahoma to like, to the spread, to the wing tee or whatever. Like it's largely, just wrinkles off of Nick's offense. But yeah, man, I just think it's the line and then it goes from there.
Do you think there needs to be some more seasoning to the offense? Like, would you grab some like do you think any of this air raid stuff or like spread stuff that you see in college, you think it could work with the Eagles currently, you think, or should they?
Well, just a lack of variety, man. Like I hate like bubble screens with all of with every fiber of my being, but I would
all do.
I'd love to see them throw one now just to mix it up,
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's just not a robust playbook. They throw they throw slants to Smitty and AJ. They have hitch routes, like little 10-yard stops. They'll take sideline shots for either guy. Maybe they'll get one of them over the top. Run inside zone with Saquon. They always have a lot of success with that kind of like that series of plays where they pull and throw short to Dallas Goedert, hit him for 3 or 4 yards. They've used that in short yard situations before. But yeah, there's not a lot of like creativity, and the run blocking schemes. You look at what the Bears did to Vic Fangio's defense and the way that they were, pulling and hitting these wham blocks and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So it just feels like it does feel vanilla. I'm not saying you got to have a thick playbook with a million calls in it, but when you're sitting there like I am at home watching it, and you know what's coming next. I mean, imagine how the defenders are. If you and I can see what's coming next, then yeah,
it could be brutal, anyways. So
yeah.
So what then do you think really needs to be done to kind of amp up that culture a little bit? Because I kind of feel like they're in this laissez-faire sort of attitude, just not necessarily going through the motions, but to your point, to me, started the conversation today, that there just isn't juice there whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know how you inject that. Isn't that like an organic thing? What did the Patriots have that made them, that allowed them to just be competitive year in and year out? To me,
Tom Brady, they had Julian Edelman. You had your leaders who are also your big time players like Julian Edelman, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski. You ran the ball. And it was pretty much Tom Brady was like, yo, let's fucking do this.
Yeah, and he was a stone cold fucking killer, man. That's what I go back to again, what I said at the beginning, where it was just kind of weird to hear them come out and emphatically say that this is not a continuation of last. This is a new year. Last year's over. And I was like, well, all right, I don't know. I mean, I could see it from their perspective. It was almost like hitting the reset button in a way I thought to motivate them to say we got to do this all over again. But
Mhm.
really, you've reached the pinnacle. Now it's about the sustaining
Maintenance.
that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
staying in
you
the
know, like it's almost too. It's funny, man. It's like I find it so cheap. I think the easiest, cheapest motivation is to say that like your back is against the wall, or that you're an underdog.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a Philly team just come out for once and be like, you know what, we are the shit, and we're gonna try to,
Shove
understand
up
that
their
everybody's
ass.
coming for us, and we're gonna go out there and try to shove it down the. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
billion percent. You talk about just the
Mhm.
sidetrack for a second about the Phillies, not this previous season, but the one before. Like you guys are up and down the best lineup in the league. Your pitching is rolling. Just come out there and be like, listen, you got to beat us. And I feel the same way with the Eagles. Yeah, we lost a lot of pieces, but no one was there. And I thought, okay, BG's going to come back, and people are sort of just like, oh, Brandon's back. Oh, that's cool. Let's have a good time with it. Like there wasn't this injection of like, all right, daddy's home, or the big bad uncle has showed back up and now we're gonna just lay waste to people. It's just like, here's
Yeah.
another guy. Here we go.
Yeah,
We'll
it
play
was so
pretty well.
strange, man. Yeah, I mean, just the way, like, even like AJ Brown's comments after the Super Bowl, where he seemed like unsatisfied, and Hurts didn't even put the ring on, or like how quickly it seemed like they turned the page. I mean, at first I thought it was like, oh, they're hyper focused on next year, but now I kind of see it as like no, they wanted to take that narrative and get rid of that,
Mhm.
because they didn't want to come in with any extra pressure. And I don't know, man. I've never won a Super Bowl, dude. Maybe you get lackadaisical, and maybe you get complacent after you've done it. We've had, I don't know, we've had great years at Crossing Broad where I come into January and I'm like, well, let's just cruise for a little bit, man. Site traffic's good. I don't know, I don't know if it's a stupid comparison or not. I'm trying to understand it from their perspective, but
What's that? We need a drunk flyer to come on the internet, please. We need a drunk Philadelphia flyer.
yeah, I've got my
Back for 30 days.
I've got my 2018-19 Flyers Cup
There you go.
with we got Simmer on it on the front.
I have that same cup somewhere in this apartment somewhere up down here in Florida.
I don't know, man. It's so strange though. I don't, the psychology of how do you motivate yourself? I mean, everybody's different as an individual, of course, but yeah, I would just like a Philly team to come out one of these days and be like, you know what, we are the best, and come take it from us.
They need that swagger like some those late '80s or early '80s Miami Hurricanes do. Just be this arrogant and everything, just like show off. Anyway,
it this might be a dumb comparison, but like because of just the talent gap in the college game. But Ohio State came out this year and just hammered everybody. Faced a little bit of adversity, and Michigan came out and still basically ran them off the field. Just to have that killer instinct, that killer mentality. That's impressive. It's like, I'm a big soccer guy, right? So I watch the big teams in Europe win the shit every year, but like 1999 Manchester United, they were like, we are better than you. We know we're better than you, and we're going to go run your ass off the field right now. And that's, I would love to see that once here.
That'd be fucking awesome anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Eagles Chargers, this Monday Night Football we got. First thing you ask, how much site traffic are we gonna get since there's gonna be so many Eagle fans going to LA this weekend, you think?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably sad to say, but site traffic's probably better when they lose. Because people want to bitch about something, read about something, but it's always a weird game. Yeah, and it's like a home game out there. It's like they're kind of a non-existent fan base.
Yeah, I don't like the Chargers. Like everyone's like, why aren't you going to LA this year? I was like, I'd rather go to the Rams game because at least there's Rams fans, so like, you can chirp off at least. Charger fans, like, I was like, just go back to San Diego for real, anyways.
But is that so? Is having a lot of Eagles fans there this weekend, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It could be a good and bad thing, anyways. If they lose, it's gonna be a fucking shit show, anyways.
Well, that's what I'm saying, man. I don't know if you want. Yeah, I don't know if you want the quote unquote getaway game.
Yeah,
where you don't have to see your fans for a while.
Want the hostile environment for a little bit.
Like, what is the getaway game now?
It's like when the Sixers and the Flyers both inevitably go on their like 7-game road trips during the holidays because we got Disney on Ice at the Xfinity Mobile Arena every year. You're always every time you come home for the holidays, like, let's go see the Sixers or the Flyers. Oh, we can't because they never play here. I don't know, man. I think this Chargers team is beatable though.
Okay.
It's a climate controlled indoor. They play the Eagles play well on fake surfaces indoors.
Yeah.
Um,
Can they
maybe
also just get a
Saquon
win
keep his feet
without
out.
Lane Johnson and under center? Like, can we get a win without Lane Johnson? Like, that'd be
Yeah.
good for the culture. I like to say, we can win it. We can win it with you or without you. Like we did it. They beat the Giants without AJ Brown, no problems. You know.
Well, I say, when they were scoring against Dallas, they looked pretty good. There was some under center stuff. Jalen kind of like audibled out, or maybe didn't audible. Maybe it was just meant to be that way. But they come up in 13 personnel. Then they spread him out empty set, and they run the QB draw up the middle for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Converted on the tush push in that game. Got AJ some targets early. Like you see the stuff that's there. They're not completely inept.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of the putting it all together and making it sequential and making it work and mix in some stuff, man. Throw a tunnel screen to Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
Give Tank Bigsby a carry or two.
Yeah.
Jalen had a couple passes over the middle where in Dallas where he got it over the second level because the linebacker wasn't deep enough. I mean, you see these moments, so I think you got to get away from the conservative thing. And if he throws a pick or two, so what, man, if it opens things up.
Yeah. Win the turnover battle. It's all that matters. What do you like about the defense this year so far before Andrew McCooper broke his ankle anyways?
Just the fact that they always seem to bring it. As bad as they were last week, I give more credit to the Bears for just blocking the hell out of them and having great scheme and Ben Johnson or whatever. But to replace some of the pieces that they lost and just kind of reload, that's why I think the whole 2023 narrative is kind of flimsy because Vic Fangio is a second-year guy here, and he's one of the best, if not the best.
Mm-hmm.
The one of the reasons that they failed in 2023 is because Sean Desai was on the same path as Brian Johnson. This year you're talking about one coordinator, you're not talking about both of them.
No. Who's your coordinator you want in case Petula is out of here?
Kellen Moore.
I think we all want. There's one guy who just wish he never took that Saints job as Kellen Moore. Anyways,
bring Chip Kelly back. Which Chip Kelly?
No, that's the last person I want to see. You know what? If Mike Kafka gets fired, bring him down. They're gonna clean house in New York. Bring him down to be the OC at least.
What did you think of my shit post about Chip Kelly going to Penn State and bringing Deshaun with him?
That'd be so fucking funny.
People were so offended by it. Like, you're so stupid. This is what we did. It's an irreverent sports blog. We do a shit post every once in a while,
I would have gone with Tomlin to really get the Steeler fan going crazy and bring in Deshaun Jackson at least.
Do you agree with Ben Roethlisberger that Mike Tomlin would be good for Penn State?
It'd be so funny Tomlin being on the college sideline. Just be so funny. Because it seems like it'll be terrible, but also so funny. And it's also you just gotta laugh at how the different organizations the Steelers and the Eagles are, and the Steelers who are the model franchise of being consistent going down the hill anyways. So
yeah, that's a franchise, by the way. Man, I got family out in Western PA. They haven't won a playoff game since 2017.
Yeah.
So, you got it. Like, the Penguins, after they won their last title, I don't think they've won a playoff series since, and the Pirates are the Pirates. So we're going on almost 10 years that anything meaningful has happened in Pittsburgh, and don't even get me started on the college football team out there.
Panthers, get him out of here for real.
He's got a good team every year, and like they win a bunch of games, and like there's the light at the end of the tunnel, and the ACC title game is right in front of them. And then they
play Greg Schiano almost. He's a modern day Greg Schiano. Like Greg Schiano had all the chances at Rutgers being the Big East champ, could never deliver.
Schiano, man, I lived those years in the Big East, and like Schiano has gotten more mileage out of that 2006 season at Rutgers than any one coach in the history of coaching.
For real,
I would like for them to be successful because I just want Northeastern football to be a thing, but not in the NIL world,
Not in this NIL world. I'll ask you. Lane Kiffin, what were your thoughts on him leaving Ole Miss to go to LSU? I know you're a college football guy as well.
Yeah, dude, that's like leaving Dortmund to go to Bayern Munich, man. It's like 11-1, amazing roster there. You're going in the playoffs, and there's not many jobs that are better than Ole Miss, man.
No.
I just don't. I don't know, man. LSU is a great job, but I've never understood the fact. I always would like when Rich Rod left for Michigan the first time. I was so pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
Why?
you have the opportunity to be the first Rich Rodriguez, you know,
Yeah.
and instead you're trying to be the next Bo Schembechler.
Lloyd Carr.
Or the next Lloyd Carr. You know, you're trying to be a Michigan man. You're from fucking like Grafton or something.
Yep.
You know? So, or Glenville or something.
Know
Yeah.
your place.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I don't, it's just like you've built all the, can you imagine building and then this the next day you're on a plane going somewhere else and trying to do it all over again? Like how much of a, I don't know. I guess I should know more about the NIL and the resources they have and everything. But that's like crazy to me to think that like there's such a clear step up in the SEC, you know?
Yeah, I was producing the Canes Ole Miss basketball game last night, and there was about a bunch of fuck Lane Kiffin chants going on during the game. I was like, well, I was expecting this anyways.
Dude,
like,
I read the funniest like Reddit post on Miami. It was because Miami's 10-2 and didn't make the title game, ACC title game.
Yeah,
Vandy I think finished 10-2.
Yeah.
Right. But they might be on the outside looking in for the playoffs. Somebody found like a caveat in the NCAA rules that you can schedule a 13th game in the season is if it's played in Alaska or Hawaii. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah. So he pitched the idea of like the Hawaii Rainbow Warrior or the Warriors or whatever the hell they are now hosting a neutral site game between Vandy and Miami to try to get to 11 wins and like improve their picture for the committee, you know.
We should just honestly have Miami and Notre Dame replay each other again this weekend. Anyways, that'll be a best rating for the weekend, anyways. So,
dude, but it's like it's like the haves and the have-nots, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my third European soccer reference of the day, but it's like eventually, like all the best players in England end up at Chelsea or City or United or Arsenal or whatever, you know, and like what's the future like for a team like Pitt or West Virginia or Arizona or something, like, you know, winning 7 games and going to a shitty bowl. I mean, they're never going to be playoff teams.
No.
You know, if you got guys going 11-1 at Ole Miss and then leaving for better jobs, then the haves and the have-nots is like you know, it's like politics nowadays. It's like there's the rich and then the working class. There's no middle class anymore.
What's your point?
Yeah.
You know?
That's I just look at it like this. It's like, what's your fucking point then? Like, if you go 10-2 or 11-1 and you can't make the ACC title game,
yeah,
to get rid. You know what, I'm gonna say this. Everyone should be independent. Make your own effing schedules now. You know, we'll see how that.
But for real though, I mean, like seriously, do you think that there's a middle class in college football now?
Yes, I think there is. It's the lower end of SEC, the lower, like the mid tier of Big 12 teams. Whoever's left of the Pac-12, and like the Northeast schools like Maryland, BC, Pitt, Syracuse.
Well, sure. I mean, those teams are not like Louisiana Lafayette.
Oh, I think there's a middle class and a lower class. Yeah, like
but they're not going to. But Louisiana Lafayette and Boston College are both winning the same thing, which is jack shit.
Yeah.
So that's just where I see it from. You know, I mean, like you're always going to have like. I think the rich got richer with NIL, and then the states that are poor and don't have huge boosters to begin with. I mean, like we got killed with it. You know, we can't keep up with when we found diamonds in the rough like Steve Slayton and Owen Schmidt. We were fine, but we're never going to be able to keep up with like a Georgia or an Ohio State or Penn State or any of those teams. You know,
no, like or you're like OU, they're not going to keep up with anybody, or Kent State or Miami, Ohio, anyways.
Yeah, all the Maction teams. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like Rutgers, man. You talked about Schiano, you know. Yeah. What is he ever going to be able to do in this world? You know, I mean, it's not 2000s. The reason they were good back in the day is because he was able to keep guys like Ray Rice and Mike Teal and Tyquan Underwood and Kenny Britt and all these dudes somewhat local. You know, you can't build a wall around New Jersey anymore. No. Because USC will come in and pay that dude $10 million to go out to LA, you know?
Yeah. And you're going to run into stuff where the NIL is going to get to the revenue sharing portion, so that just like the Kansas City Royals and the Cincinnati Reds and, you know, EBF team over here gets a little bit of the cookie. Because if not, those programs would just fold. You're making a totally valid point. These guys run down the SEC, the Big 5 power conferences. Outside of them, like no one's competing. No one's winning. You get a nice story one year because SMU played well. Oh, that's so cute. But you're going to get boat race, dude.
Yeah, it's almost, like I want Temple football to be good again.
Sure.
But I just
Mhm.
don't. I don't think you're ever going to see anything like the Matt Rule era as long as NIL is what it is now. There's no guardrails in place.
Yeah.
Playing at renting out Lincoln Financial Field, playing in front of 2,000 people. It's just never what they've already hit their ceiling. I think.
Yeah. A completely different dynamic. You talk about lower tier schools getting into like the NCAA basketball tournament where you can run off 2, 3, 4 wins, put a little national attention yourself, like shout out to Loyola, right? Like, but that doesn't happen in college football. It's not going to happen. It will never happen.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that was fun about when before conference realignment, when all the Big East teams left for the ACC, and that kind of kicked off like the domino effect that got us to where we are now.
Yeah.
There were some years where the new Big East kind of had a chip on its shoulder playing against the ACC schools that had left. And, at that point, the geographic rivalries were still intact. We played Pitt every year, Miami joined Florida State's conference. There was a lot of that did make sense. And this was long before we had 16 team conferences and all that stuff. And so there was just more juice for it overall. I mean, we ended up in the Big 12, and now I'm like, I don't have any thoughts about TCU,
Let's go party in the
Maybe tell you where
stockyard
they're
at
at.
Fort Worth, anyways.
I'll go visit, man. It'll be fun, and we'll all sing Kumbaya together. But I liked it better when we hated our rivals,
That, like, for me, is like, I grew up a Miami guy. You can hate me for this, like the old Big East days. It's like I love going and like see them play BC or play at Temple at like Franklin Field or like some other places and stuff. Now it's just like the only rivalry I still get is like Florida State. Virginia Tech sucks, and it's like I'm not going to buy into the hype of James Franklin anyways. Unless the Miami Tech rivalry's back, and plus I can't stand the University of Florida fan like nobody. Anyways, and Florida doesn't want to play Miami every year, anyways. So
yeah, those Miami Tech games from 20 some years ago were great. When both of those teams were really good. And then you'd have like Pitt had Larry Fitzgerald for a time there, and they were competitive, but now everything's like scattered to the wind, So I just I just want regional football. Say whatever you want to say about Joe Paterno, but one of the things that he always vouched for was like Northeastern football, and having viable programs at Penn State and Syracuse and Boston College and Pitt and West Virginia, those teams playing each other. And I know that Penn State is better than all these other teams, and they don't want to play these other teams now. But there was something to be said for them going and playing Ohio State and Michigan and whatever. Historically they had always played, like the Rutgers of this world and whatever.
Definitely, for sure. I just think it's really interesting what's going to happen, anyways, for the landscape of college football. Anyways, I just see it like how I see, because I feel like it affects college basketball the most. Anyways, we both love college basketball, and when you see the ACC just coming apart, it's like, you have to go to the West Coast twice now, or you don't have to go to the West Coast this year. It's just pure insanity anyways. So, like, no one wants to see Miami play at Stanford at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night anyways.
No, and like, Pagan will tell you that Temple has like, Tulane coming to the Leah Course Center and North Texas and all that. Nobody cares about that.
No.
And you got these teams that are, like Darius Nichols, took over at LaSalle this year. He's got like 14 of his 15 guys are brand new. So you can't build any continuity with these guys. You can't really develop any rivalries. I remember college basketball for me was defined by like all the guys that I hated from Duke and Pitt and all this stuff.
DeJuan Blair,
Greg Paul, DeJuan Blair. Oh my God, yeah, Carl Krauser and all of the annoying white point guards that Syracuse had over the years, like Jerry McNamara and Eric Devendorf.
Yeah.
And now I don't know who any of these dudes are. It's like a brand new team every year. So how do you naturally the students stop showing up.
Yeah, that's what I always say. Like Miami, like even though they have an NIL team, it's like, is this gonna last? Like how long will this last? For real. Anyway, so.
Bro. Yeah, excuse me. Sorry. Sorry, I was responding to somebody on Slack there. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I just want college sports to be relevant in Philadelphia.
Would you be for the we brought this up on the pod last week, the Fort Lauderdale War Memorial Open? Should we get all the lower tier schools, like the Florida schools, play like some of the Northeast schools for a weekend?
Like a challenge, like the
Yeah, like how the
big-
ACC, SEC challenges, we call it the War Memorial Challenge. Anyways, you have Florida Gulf Coast, UCF, USF, FAU, and you throw Temple in there and a few other schools like you did like the Big Five, but we just pick some of the Big Five schools to come down to Florida for a week.
Yeah, and the winner gets a trophy of like an upside down iguana. You know, when they fall off the trees or whatever,
Yes.
whatever happens down there, you know.
That-
Yeah, it's just anything to bring the intrigue back, man. You know, I talked to Fran McCaffrey yesterday. They're playing in the Penn's playing in the Big Five title game on Saturday against Nova, and you know, it's like none of these Big Five schools are really ever going to have the resources to, you know, to compete. But if you didn't have 6 Big Five schools and all of the best talent in Philadelphia all came together to play at one school, they'd probably beat Duke, you know, Carolina or whatever. So it's like, you know,
They'll beat up Pitt anyways.
yeah, the saturation, you know, and like the tribalism in the Big Five, you know, like if you went to Temple, you probably don't care about Nova. If you went to Nova, you probably don't care about St. Joe's. So unless you, and the casuals don't really get on board unless you've got like a Jameer Nelson run again, or Tyrone Garland is hitting the Southwest Philly floater to go to the Sweet 16, you know. So that stuff's just few and far between. It'll always be a pro town.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like Miami. It's like even though we act like a pro town, it's a college town on the side as well for football.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, I'm gonna let you guys go because I got to get back to it here.
Well,
But,
Kinker, I'll say this: at least you're down for the Fort Lauderdale War Memorial Open. We'll get sponsors and stuff. We're trying to get the local bar scene to go with us, anyways. So at least
Yeah.
Crossing Broad will be down for the
we'll
Fort.
send all the local Philly schools. We'll send St. Joe's and Drexel. We'll send the Harkham Bears down there. It's the Haverford.
We'll take
College.
Drexel. We'll take LaSalle. We'll even take Temple so Kyle Payne can get a tan at least.
Temple Abington. I'll send them on down there. You know.
Kevin Kinkead, we'll talk to you again, anyways. And when's Crossing Broadcast coming back? I got to ask you on that one.
Oh, I don't know. I got a lot of shit to do here.
Kinker, thank you as always for
I'll
coming.
let you know. All right.